everyone, it's Ian Benjamin with Digital Execs, and I am delighted to be interviewing Briege Leahy, CEO of the Hertfordshire Chamber. Briege is the first interviewee or individual guest I'm interviewing, and her background is amazing. Digital Hub as a podcast or webinar is focusing on interviewing leaders from within Bedfordshire, Hertfordshire, Buckinghamshire about their journeys and how digital transformation or digital marketing has impacted their industries over the last few years and the improvements digital transformation, digital marketing is having on their industry. So I'm delighted to have Briege on board, whose career is significant and from a logistics perspective. So yeah, welcome, Briege. Thanks for being a part of the first episode of Digital Hub. Delighted.
Well, it's always good to be a maiden voyage.
True, indeed. Yeah, definitely is very true. And for me as well, it's a maiden voyage for me. It's my first time out doing this. So, but I want to kind of kick things off, actually. I want to kind of give you a bit of a testimonial. I spoke to a member of your team today, spoke to Naomi, and she gave me an amazing testimonial. So I want to read this out to you and to anyone listening or watching. She says, Briege, what can I say? The Chamber team are delighted to have the leadership, commercial knowledge and experience that Briege brings. She has not only gelled with the team and members, she has been our catalyst. She leads by example. She will not expect anyone to do a task that she is not willing to do herself. There is no job too big or too small. Her knowledge and experience as a businesswoman brings an edge to the Chamber that's not been seen before. This is not only shared with the team with succession planning, but with members the members to enhance and grow their businesses. She's a people person, and I can vouch for that. You are definitely a people person who can make you feel at ease with a great sense of humour, but also give you confidence that it can be done. It is teamwork all the way, everyone included, and listened to with an open door policy, but expects people to also think for themselves and bring solutions, not problems. There is no one I would rather have leading this team, especially during this difficult time. If anyone can, Briege can. So, bang! Do you know what I mean? So, how do you live up to that? How are you going to live up to that, Briege? Tell me about it.
I'm just myself, Ian. Never any different. And particularly at this moment, it's a moment of crisis for not just business, but for families, for health workers, for frontliners. It is a crisis, and for the government, and it's worldwide. We've just never experienced anything. So you put yourself in the shoes of everybody else to try and all pull together, and that's exactly what I do in business every day.
Right, okay. But in terms of working across so many areas and as you mentioned about from a health perspective, like mental well-being and having such a critical situation that we've had since March of this year, have you had to work in that vein before in your career?
No, I wouldn't say this is a first, and it will be a first for anybody who's experiencing this. We've all experienced financial crashes or downturn in business for whatever reason. We had all the uncertainty around Brexit since 2016, and businesses have navigated and continued to do business throughout that, and that's still looming. That's still going to come back. So this is very, very different, very, very different.
But you've obviously navigated like the recession in 2008, 2009. I mean, that's prior, from memory, looking at your profile, etc. Before you started Luna, is that right? 2008.
Started Luna in 2010, in the middle of the recession.
Right.
Again, a lot of advice not to do it, but I did.
Yeah, you remember talking about that. Superb. So, and I know, obviously, looking at your CV and so forth, and your LinkedIn profile, just by talking to you before, how did that all start off? Because I mean, Luna was obviously logistic, but you were in the business for like 20 years prior to that. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, it was my first sort of major job, I would say, and
why logistics?
Well, for no other reason that they were offering a car, and I needed a car at the time, and it was a job with a car. I had no idea of logistics, didn't have an interest in it. I wanted that burgundy coloured Ford Orion car.
I
And
can
that
remember
was the
those, yeah.
drive.
So it was like a 1.6 GL or gear or something like that.
Oh yeah, I can't remember the
I
numbers
remember those
and
cars.
the letters.
I remember those cars,
But
yeah. I remember I was a bit of a Ford. My first car was actually a Ford, but we'll get into that another time. Superb. So, but you've done that from a sales perspective. So you're going out seeing clients.
yeah, I joined. I was the youngest person in the company. It was a family-run company in Stevenage, and they are still going. A company called Becker Transport. I joined. I was either around 22.
Right.
And I learnt that business from the ground up. I even went out on the vehicles to see how they installed medical equipment. And I was part of a sales team. There was 3 of us, and it was local businesses that needed, it was technology logistics. It was specialist logistics with large tail lifts, careful handling, what they call the white glove service.
Right. Okay.
And I fell in love with it. I fell in love with it.
Superb. Why? Because it was like not just transport, but you're also getting involved in businesses and helping them operate, not just dropping something off and driving off. He was kind of going to be
No,
more
there was
involved.
much more, because you were doing what they call a green button test, which means that you were not just delivering it. It would be always 2 or more drivers. The equipment that you would be delivering would be extortionate amounts of money, and a company had made a big investment to buy that equipment, so you had to make sure that you had everything in place. And then we went on to get into pharmaceutical companies moving the hazardous materials. So I headed that piece of work up. I was there 15 years.
Right.
So I really did learn that business from accountancy, operations, sales, anything to do with that business. That I was very lucky to be afforded great mentors, and working for a family company.
Yeah.
You learn everything. You become a jack of all trades.
So what was your USP? Why did you kind of thrive in that space, do you think, the company?
I think because it was a niche market. I could have gone and done sales selling fax machines in those days or something else, and it was a niche market. It was
Fax
unusual.
machines. Oh my gosh. If I said to my son's 16, if I asked him what a fax machine was, he would typically think I'm swearing at him. So funny. But yeah, sorry, carry on. We digress.
So I could have gone into something there where there were loads of people selling it. It was also very unusual in those days to have somebody working in logistics on the sales front being female.
Right.
But actually it works to your advantage. Being different always works to your advantage.
Right, yeah, definitely, without a doubt. But I loved it. Little blonde bombshell coming in there, kicking
Yeah,
things
not
up.
now.
Do you know what I mean? It's great, superb, wonderful. So you've done really, really well there. And then, so when you left that organisation, what sort of size were they in terms of like turnover and the size of the team?
Just under 3 million.
Wow. Okay, superb, superb. And when you joined them, so they were at what sort of?
Not even 1 million.
Right. Okay. Superb. Really, really good. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, great. So so what drives you apart from driving your Mercedes ML? What drives you in the morning when you get up?
I think what drives me is the feeling of success. And success isn't just about money. Success is about getting the right thing done, doing the right thing, and getting that feedback that you've done a good job or you've done a good deed. That's success to me.
Right. Okay. So you have a goal in the morning, or that you've had for the last since February when you joined, February 2019 when you joined the chamber. So you've had a goal of what success looks like from a CEO's perspective, and that's what you're aiming towards. Is that what you mean?
I think I had. So I joined in March 2019.
Right.
What it was, I had been a member, and I'd been on the other side of the fence, and I actually thought I could bring something to this organisation that would make it actually more viable, more meaningful, and actually hit businesses in a way that they can actually do more business.
Right.
So the goal was to make the chamber a very successful, and it's been around 90 odd years.
Yeah, sure.
It's always been successful, but actually bring something different that would really resonate with businesses of today.
Right. Okay. So you've got that in your head. So in the morning, you want to achieve that goal. So that's what kind of gives you the motivation to get up, and you still want to. You've got a certain ideal in terms of where the chamber could be and what goals it could achieve, and that's what you want to achieve. Is that right?
Yep. But we've achieved an awful lot in just 12 months. We're the fastest growing chamber in the UK.
Amazing.
So we're part of the BCC, the accredited chambers. We're one of 54, and we are the fastest growing chamber. Right. And we've really changed up what we deliver in terms of our events and how we engage with our members and how we engage with businesses. That's one side, because it's an SME at the end of the day. But then there's another side to this job, which is all about the policy and the stakeholders, not just in the county, but right up to central government.
Right, superb.
Then we have the international trade part, which is actually working for companies, manufacturers and companies in Hertfordshire who are exporting every day all over the world.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so how does this differ from running your own business and being in the senior positions at the start of your career to getting up to sales director, and then obviously starting Luna in 2010, I believe it was. So that was your own company for 8-9 years, and then now you're working for a national umbrella, if you like, even though you are an independently funded business, which not many people know that. So there is some similarities there, but at the end of the day, it's not your company, it's not your business. So how does that, what's the major difference that you've realised about that? Or are you still kind of using the same sort of gusto and focus as if it was your own business to a certain degree?
Okay, so it's an SME at the end of the day, and when you're the leader, whether it's your own business or a leader, you get that position because you have a certain amount of passion, integrity and work ethic. So I do treat it as though it was my business. I want it to be successful. It's been around 90 odd years. I want it to be even more successful under my watch. I'm just the custodian, nothing more, but I give it absolutely everything that I gave to Luna.
Yes, amazing. Absolutely. Well done. Superb, superb. So on that journey for Luna, what was your, would you say, your biggest achievement?
Coming out the other side and being able to sell the company. So that is a huge achievement, because not many people start and finish. Yeah. Some people continue, but I think
so was it always a plan? When did it come? Sorry to interrupt, but I just want to kind of get into the guts of this. So when was it the plan to sell up, or was that always the plan from day one? You want to get it going and then set up?
No, it wasn't the plan, and that is a mistake of a lot of businesses. It's easy to start, but you should have succession plan and know some idea of where you're going to end. And that just came about by sheer luck, that a large supplier really wanted to buy the business, and it made sense at the time.
Right. Did it happen quickly? I mean, so did you know them? Did it happen quickly from when they first knocked on the door to the actual having the money?
We knew them very well. We'd worked with them from the beginning. And then it was sort of an 18-month period when that happened. And really, in my mind, I thought, that's it. I've never had a break from work. I'm going to be a lady of leisure. I'm not going to do anything. I think I got probably week 6, week 7, and I was going stir crazy.
Yeah.
I hadn't planned for the sale of the business, and I hadn't planned for the retirement.
Yeah, exactly.
I needed a rest. I did need a rest.
So how long did you have out? How many months was it? Not months. Wasn't long, was it? 2 months. All right, superb. And then that was it. So you kind of back into working with the Heart Chamber, and through reaching out from memory, you kind of reached out to or sent an email to Naomi. Is that right?
I think it might have been Mary Sykes, actually.
Right. Okay.
I can blame Mary for anything that's happened to me since. I phoned up Mary because she's in East Herts, and she's well known to everybody, saying if anybody wants some free business development or free scale up your business, I need to do something with my head, but I don't need to be paid. And people are scared of something free, especially if they don't know you. Nothing happened. And then I got an email from Naomi several months later, invited me to come for an interview. So I did. Mary asked for a CV, to be fair, which was a challenge because I hadn't done one of those for, I don't know, 10 years, maybe longer.
Say what? Pretty longer, yeah. Would have been longer, wouldn't it? Prior to Lunar,
Yeah,
obviously, as
probably
well.
longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Superb. Wonderful. So, what does the future hold? What's the future hold for you? Like 5, I mean, you're still full of energy. You still got this image of success of where you want the Hertfordshire Chamber to be. So, what's going on?
I'm really happy where I am at the moment. And I think sometimes you have to actually be happy in the moment. That is a good mental well-being mantra that I've always had. So I'm happy where I am. There's no intention to change what I'm doing over the next, I don't know, 3 to 5 years. Who knows, it might be longer, but I think, you always need to bring new people and new faces into a business to keep it fresh.
Yeah.
But I'm really happy where I'm very lucky. This is a fabulous, fabulous job, and I am very privileged to be the CEO. Forget about ability, I'm privileged, and I work with not just fantastic team. We've got an amazing board who are brilliant, but it's every member, every patron, every member that you cross paths with. That is just the most wonderful experience that you could ever ask for.
Right. What do you like about that? It's kind of getting inside, get them to meet the owners, understand what drives them, and also, do you feel as though your brain kind of ticks over and you think, well, I could probably help them by doing this, or I know somebody that might be able to do that? Is that what you get a bit of a buzz about that?
If I don't know something, I always know someone who does. So I'm quite generous with my, giving knowledge or advice or whatever it might be. I think that makes you a good business leader, that you actually share, you collaborate and you share, and sharing knowledge costs you nothing. It's a nice gift to give.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I love it as well, as obviously being in recruitment. Obviously, you have to earn a living, but in terms of the joy that when when the candidate loves the employer and vice versa, it's amazing, and I get a testimonial, and it makes it all worthwhile. So I totally agree with you in that. Fantastic, superb. Briege, it's been great chatting to you. Thank you so much. And I've got one little quick fire question round. I've got 7 or 8 questions here. I think it'll be of interest to me, being a fan of yours, and also to the audience. So here we go. Question number 1. Are you a Mac or a PC person?
PC.
Okay. iPhone or Android?
Both.
Really? Yeah. Both.
Yeah.
You've got both of them, have you? Yeah. You've got 2 phones.
Yep.
Wow. So you've got one for the village, for the horticultural stuff, and you've got one for business.
No, I'm an Apple girl in personal life, and I'm a Samsung in work life.
Right. Okay. Cool. I couldn't have more than one phone. Bad enough looking after one. Football or rugby?
Rugby.
Really? Okay. Interesting. Skiing or beach holiday?
Definitely beach. I hate the cold.
Me too. Excellent. Wine or cocktail? Is your tipple?
Both.
You've got to choose one.
Oh, a wine then. Wine.
Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes cocktails don't taste like you think they're going to taste. You think, oh, why did I pick that one? So no, wine. At least you know what you're getting.
Yeah, true. Okay, superb. And I know you like your cars, so Aston Martin or Bentley?
Aston Martin.
Yeah. Okay, superb. I think I'm more of a Bentley guy. I like the new Bentleys. Love the new Bentleys. And now, do you play a musical instrument?
Oh, yes, I do actually.
Do you really? Yeah.
I do. I play the guitar.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. Okay, because I've got a question down here. So, since when? I mean, I'm a drummer. I play the drums since I was 11. I've actually got my practice pad in my office as well here on my sticks. So that's my every day I have a little get together. So maybe something to get the members of the Hearts, get a little band going. I love playing the drums, but and I think I miss my calling. I'm not making a living out of it. So, how long have you played the guitar?
Oh, I learnt when I was a kid at school.
So just all pick it up now and play?
Occasionally. I leave it more to the nephews and nieces. Yeah.
Like an acoustic guitar, acoustic or electric guitar?
Acoustic and classical and chords, both.
Wow, okay, superb. Wonderful. Well, that's it. Thank you so much again, Briege. And I hope you've enjoyed it.
I have. It's been fun. It's been
Yeah,
real fun.
it's been really good. I think you've given us the fun side, the business side, and allowed anyone who's listening to kind of to understand you, to kind of have a look under the bonnet, basically, and to understand Briege as an individual. And so, no, wonderful. We are coming to the end of our very first Digital Hub podcast, and I'd like to take this opportunity to say thank you, big thank you to Briege Leahy, and for giving us an opportunity to understand what makes her tick, and from a logistic perspective, but also about your personal life, Briege. So thank you very much for that. And the next segment, I'd like to introduce two friends and business associates of mine, Nick and Cheryl from Wagada Digital Marketing. They are going to give us a segment about digital marketing, but also from a logistics and transport perspective. So yeah, please sit back and enjoy, and I'll see you soon.
It's Nick here from Wagada. We're a digital marketing agency, and I'm here with Cheryl Luzet, who's our CEO.
Hi everyone.
And we are going to be talking about logistic and transport firms and why marketing is really important to those industries. So I think I wanted to start, Cheryl, by just asking you why you think really those businesses might have been underappreciated and undervalued prior to sort of lockdown and before we came into this sort of current crisis.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting how during lockdown, as face-to-face contact has been reduced, that logistics firms have stepped in to keep the supply chain moving, to keep supermarkets stocked. And I think before we took it a little bit for granted how goods magically got to the shops, and it was only when there started to be a little bit of a lack of toilet paper and things like that that we realised actually there is someone that is going to make sure that the food does get from A to B. And I think in the past they were very much seen as a boring industry, all about lorries. But now I think after lockdown, I think we're all looking towards the logistics companies as very much being as the heroes of this time, because they've been getting food and other essentials to where they're needed. And I think before we weren't really aware, or it hadn't really occurred to us, of the complexity of the journey that some of these goods had taken in order to get them to their final destination.
Absolutely. So why you think that now perhaps it's exciting times for that industry and sort of unlocking that potential that they've got to help businesses grow?
Absolutely. I think it's a really exciting time for logistics firms. Lots of companies, I think maybe the sort of traditional high street or storefront companies have had their eyes open to the possibilities and the potential of selling online, selling at a distance. So I do think there will be an increased demand for logistics companies. There's obviously, it's a very competitive market. So I do think there will be more business for logistics companies, but there will be the challenge of different companies of how they can, make themselves stand out.
So is it sort of them finding a niche really that's important for them at the moment?
Absolutely, yeah, and you're right. I think they've got to be able to differentiate themselves. So, trying to target all people and offering all things is not a way they're going to be able to stand out. So what I would recommend is that logistics companies have a little think about what they do best, and focus on that really. So, do you want to provide a refrigerated service, or do you want to go for organic certification? I know some logistics companies focus on the ideal box size that they would like to pick and pack, or some companies look at different verticals or the size of the company they want to target. I know there's some logistics companies that target startups, so this is very much sort of smaller companies that they want to target that probably need a bit more of a personalized service. Whereas others like to focus on more established businesses that maybe have bigger needs.
So how, as a marketing company, can we really help logistics and transport companies at this time?
I think there's lots of ways we can help them, very much around helping them to identify what their niche is, and then get their messages in place. I think one of the key ways is they could look at using customer service as well in order to differentiate themselves, and we can help them to for example, make sure they have the right reviews, make sure they have testimonials on their website, so they can very much demonstrate that they are offering a really good service, which is great on so many different levels. So I know Google, from a search engine optimization point of view, likes to know that the websites it's ranking are offering a high quality service. But it's also a great way of attracting strong staff as well, I think, if you can demonstrate strong customer service. So I definitely think there's ways we can help logistics companies to market to their customers, but also help them if they are looking to very much focus their differentiation on customer service, to help them find the right staff that will carry that forward and to keep their staff.
So do you think it's important then to humanize that brand as well? And is this kind of where things such as case studies and then maybe the staff kind of engagement is really important in kind of getting that across in the brand?
Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right. I think definitely sort of messages you can get out on social media, if you can use those to portray the people behind the company and the people behind the brand. And maybe there's ways as well that you can get some of your customers to do maybe video case studies. I mean, that's lovely if you can get someone to kind of say why they work with you and why they like working with you. I think the whole kind of peer recommendation thing is really key at the moment, and everyone wants to make sure that the companies they work with do have happy customers that are ready to state and make that recommendation.
And there's a variety of options that are available for that, aren't there, in terms of Trustpilot or Trustless, or there's a variety, but probably it still comes down to Google. Reviews is probably as important as any of them, isn't it?
Absolutely. I think the Google My Business should always be your starting point when you're collecting reviews, because that's what Google is going to use when it's going to try and make a value judgment about your company. When it's identifying where it's going to rank you, it is going to use those Google reviews, and it is the Google reviews that come up when people search for you on Google. So I definitely would use the Google My Business as a starting point for your reviews, but then maybe look at some other platforms that are maybe more relevant to your particular industry.
Perfect. And what part does technology play in this?
I think lots of logistics companies do use technology as a way of differentiating themselves, and I think it does work, because things like inventory management, live updates, pick and pack, making sure the pick and pack is done quickly and accurately. I think, people want to keep on top of all their sales and what's happening. So having a cloud solution that allows people to access from anywhere, in the world, where what's happening with their stock. So I think there's lots of logistics companies that do focus on technology as a way of differentiating themselves. And it can be a way that you can make yourself look unique, and the way that you can make your customers' lives easier. So it's definitely a very attractive point, I think, for logistics companies.
So technology clearly is important, but it's all futile. It's all a waste of time without the right messaging and content, of course.
Absolutely. It's very noisy out there. I think we're bombarded constantly with messages. So I think when you're thinking about your marketing messages, you need to focus on clarity, really, and think of ways that you can be memorable. So thinking about how to present yourself in a way that differentiates yourself, but is quite digestible for people to see at a glance what it is that you do, because you're also going to want your clients to make recommendations to other people about what you do, and you want other people to kind of talk about you. So if you make that message really clear and digestible, it's much easier for them to pass the message on.
Could companies use elements such as white papers and that kind of blog content to help them to get those messages out there?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I think any sort of, white papers, any content on your website works really well on many different levels. For a start, it makes you look more credible and much more authoritative. So it makes you look like the expert in the field. It's really reassuring for people, I think, when they go on a website and they see people demonstrating their knowledge and their expertise. But also it's great from a search engine optimization point of view, because by having lots of extra content on your website, it does let you rank for a wider range of different keywords, which is great for brand building and helping people to find you online.
Perfect. Well, Cheryl, I hope that will be useful for anyone watching this, and hopefully there'll be some snippets of some nuggets that people can take away from this. Anyway, thanks very much.
Thanks, Nick. Thanks.
I hope you enjoyed the first episode of the Digital Hub podcast and you found the content enjoyable and also useful. And if you'd like to kind of talk to us, chat to us about anything in the interim, please visit the Digital Execs website, digitalexecs.com. Reach out to me directly on LinkedIn, and you can follow us on our other social media platforms as well. And going forward, there's going to be many, many more episodes of Digital Hub to follow. So stay tuned on the social media platforms, and we will see you very, very soon. Thanks very much.